Today on I Am South African, we pay a visit to the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School. We meet its founders and we whip up a storm in the kitchen with some of the students. Hello and welcome to another episode of I Am South African. Not coming to you from the ANN7 studios in Midrand today, but instead from the heart of Johannesburg at the Maboneng precinct. As South Africans, we love our food. And here on the show, we seek to share with you inspiring stories of South Africans who have overcome the odds, are striving and are making a difference in the lives of others. Today is no different. I'll be spending my time at the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School, JCPS, as I meet the owners, Calvin and Jarlene, as well as I get to know some of their students. But before we do all of that, let's find out a little bit more about their school. Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School opened its doors in 2012. The school offers short courses, edutainment classes and full-time City and Guilds diploma courses in patisserie and culinary arts. Along with the professional training facility, they also train prospective chefs from under-resourced communities in and around Johannesburg through the Chefs Project. This is a mentorship program aimed at skill development and job placement. Their mission is to be the best cooking school in the country with service excellence with international standards in the hospitality industry. Their distinguished training lecturers have extensive professional experience in South Africa and abroad, and their instructors are deeply committed to passing on the professional values and the passion of their trade to its students. The school was founded by Calvin Joel and his wife Jarlene, who met in 2001. Calvin has completed a diploma in hospitality management and has over 10 years experience as a pastry chef. He has worked in some of South Africa's top 5-star hotels, including Sant & Son, the Michelangelo and the Hyatt. His philosophy on food is the belly rules the mind. Calvin has been a member of the South African Culinary National Team since 2011 and went to the IKA Culinary Olympics in 2012. He was selected by the National Arts Council and French Institute to be part of essay season in France, where he showcased South African desserts. He also catered at the presidential inauguration in May 2014 and judged the Sunday Times chocolate cake competition in July 2014. South Africans are very passionate about their food, and it's said that the way to a person's heart is through their stomach. I'm now joined by the owners of JCPS, Calvin and Jarlene. How are you, Jarlene?
Well, and you?
Welcome to the show, Calvin. Tell me about the history of the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School. Where did it all begin, and from the beginning to today?
Well, it started a couple of years ago, before 2012, before the school opened. So I knew I wanted to get out of the industry, and I saw there was a demand, obviously, for chefs. As you know, as you said, food is getting quite big exposure currently. So, there's obviously a market for it, and over the past 4 years, we've seen it in the school itself. So when I started out, it was when I worked at Sant & Son. So for the four years that I was there, I basically worked on the concept. So I wanted to take it to Soweto, couldn't find space. Eventually, we were supposed to go to Four Ways, couldn't find space, and we brought it to the city. As an image, Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School. So the main idea was to bring it into the city. But but then we found Maboneng, discovered Maboneng. And then we decided it has to be into the city.
This is where our home will be. Jarlene, tell me how the idea of the school works. What are the procedures and processes to be a student here, and some of the other things that you offer outside of teaching?
Okay, so we actually offer a wide range of things. Anything around food, I normally tell people, if you want to have a food fight in our facility, you're more than welcome.
Okay,
we'll set it up
for that.
Okay, so basically it is a full-time academy, it's a college. So we have full-time students doing diploma courses, certificate courses and so forth. But alongside that, we also do edutainment classes where the public can come through and actually do one-day sessions with us, like pasta or paella or cupcakes, whatever it may be. So we chop and change our edutainment classes every month. But yeah, to get into the academy, basically for the diploma courses, you simply need to have matrics. It's the certificate course as well. It's an international accreditation through City and Guilds. We are working on our CETA accreditation as well, so that's coming. But yeah, we're actually very excited because we are looking at partnering up with quite a few other international culinary schools, doing student exchanges and so forth. So there's quite a few things in the pipeline.
Calvin, it must be very difficult. I mean, the market right now, as we look around, entrepreneurship and starting your own thing is not really one of the big things that people want to get into. It's something that often, it's a scary adventure. What was the inspiration behind starting JCPS?
I think it was about a year ago. I was actually driving and I asked myself, why the hell do I put myself through all the stress? You know, I was working, I had a comfortable job, but I normally go upstream. I try to take the difficult things on.
Go against the current.
Yeah. And that's the same thing when I studied hospitality. I was supposed to become a chef, but I decided to go into pastry because everyone said it was difficult. So I went into pastry to basically see if it's so difficult. And you know, it's like anything else. If you work hard at it, you'll excel.
In any business, there are challenges, but I think even more so when you're a husband and wife pair working together. Johnny, I'll let you take this one. Yeah. How do you manage the dynamics? And is it difficult, or is it just one of those things that it's such a pleasure to work with your husband?
I would say that you basically have the same challenges that you have with working with any other business partner or colleague. The only difference is that it's not easy to break away. You literally need to persevere. You don't have a choice.
You can't just walk
exactly.
away.
It comes down to the fact that the both of you are doing it for the same reason. It's going back to the same home, to the same family, the same legacy. You're working towards a common goal. So that's what keeps us going. And it's good that we actually keep each other on our toes. You know?
Calvin, I heard Jarlene mentioning legacy. Is this one of the important reasons for you for starting the company, that you wanted to live long after you and Jarlene are here?
I mean, that's, you know, what's the purpose of being here? You know, at least leave something behind. You know, 50 years from now, they can say at least Calvin was here, you know. And what I discovered is that the people that normally leave legacies are human beings just like us. So there's no difference. It's only that they wanted to make a difference. They wanted to leave something behind.
That is so important. I love that. What are the challenges that you find from a business environment and just teaching environment, whether it be students, clients, just entrepreneurship as a whole, some challenges that you've experienced?
From a young entrepreneur, black entrepreneur, in our families there was never businesses, so it makes it a bit more challenging to basically to understand the whole concept, because it's also a skill that you have to learn. It's not something that you just find. So that's one of the biggest challenges, growing the business, coming up with strategies, and you know. So every day is a challenge of getting the business to the next level, making it better. So that keeps you going.
A lot of people believe that sometimes you do need to go to school to have the education and the understanding of what goes into all the strategies that Calvin is speaking about. But for you guys, did you go to school, study anything in particular, or was it a thing of, you know what, we'll learn as we go. Let us not be afraid to take this first step and think that we're going to fail because we don't have the knowledge full just yet.
If you fail, then you quit basically. But if you keep on, I mean, in any business, there's big businesses with big business plans that still could fail, basically. Yeah. And it's a trial and error thing. I mean, you wake up in the morning, and that's the nice thing about entrepreneurship. If it doesn't work, cut it out, try something else. So you wake up. I think it was, I listened to an interview of Gayton McKenzie once. He said, if they close a door on you, you'll go through the window, you know. So it's always coming up with something new. So if it doesn't work, move on to something else, you know, but keep in with your business concept.
And then as far as a business studies and that, there's nothing wrong with studying towards it. But there's a lot of times people are actually held back because they think that that's a specific requirement to move into something like this. The point is that anyone could do it. Anyone can do it. Obviously, we're taken from our previous skills, our previous jobs. I've been in the insurance industry all my life, so I've been in the service industry. I've sold insurance policies. I've dealt with claims and so forth. So I know how to deal with people. I understand what it is to actually build rapport with customers and liaise with customers. Calvin's always been in the kitchen, you know, so that's where the partnership actually works very well. Exactly. So he's in the kitchen where he belongs.
Hey, never thought I'd hear that being said about a man.
Exactly. Pregnant, we can't.
But they'll do something, yeah.
Exactly. And basically that's how the partnership works. He works well in operations and I work well in front of house, so yeah.
But now moving from insurance for you into this cooking environment, has cooking been something that you've always been passionate about, and you just decided one day, you know what, I can make my passion my paycheck?
I'll actually let you in a little secret. When I was younger, I was the one who had to cook at home. So I did come home from school, cook dinner and so forth. I'd bake breads and all sorts of things. And my friend used to always come with me, come to our house after school and sit and while I'm busy cooking Ilana, and she'd sit with me and actually we'll cook dinner. And I remember one day I said to her, you know, one day I'm going to get married to a chef and I don't have to cook, you know. So yes, I did get married. I got married to my chef, you know.
Calvin, where did the love for you begin? You know, I know you kind of honed your skills and got better at Sant & Son, and that's where the idea for the school came about. But take us back to the very beginning. You know?
Well, obviously, you know, in Westbury, all youngsters go through certain challenges and schooling, and I basically went and lived at a church for like 5 years, and my chores was to cook. And so I'd come from home, there's about 20 guys who come from school, and you have to cook for them. So I didn't have to clean or do anything. So after about 2-3 years into it, I realized that I'm actually quite good at it, and I started pursuing it as a career. But the only thing with that was, there wasn't anyone around. As you say, in Westbury, that's not one of, even the teachers themselves couldn't really guide you. So I had to feel my way around it. And that's why we've got something called Chef's Projects as well, where we give youngsters opportunities into the industry, you know. So just make it a bit easier for them, give them the platform, and if they're really good, they can excel in it.
You went through a dark time in your life, you know, dealing with drug addiction, and would you think, or would you say that a project like Chef's Project comes from this understanding of, I was once in a place where nobody could give me a chance or an opportunity and I fell off the tracks, and this is your way of trying to almost rehabilitate yourself, because I think it's a daily process, it's never done.
I never used the drugs, I used to sell it. So I didn't have serious challenge with that. But for a lot of youngsters can't get out of because of the money, the lifestyle. And as you say, it's one of those things where you try to heal yourself in the process as well. And by giving back, it's one of those things that it's satisfactory. There's nothing more rewarding than giving back to someone and see someone actually see the light, you know, the possibility of him changing not only his circumstances, but his family circumstances. His kids might have a better opportunity, so that's...
Charlene, that must hit home for you, you know, I'm just thinking back to that time. Take me through the moments and the emotions. Did you ever think that this would be the light that you see at the end of the tunnel, JCPS?
I would never have thought. I would never have thought. This is definitely not something I envisioned for myself, but I'm really glad it did end up being this way, because it's the type of thing I'm definitely into. Firstly, the food scene, that's a big plus. Helping people is also a big plus for me. Because coming from under-resourced areas, I'm from El Dorado Park, he's from Westbury, and we know that there aren't many opportunities, you know, and there aren't many role models. So to actually step up to the plate and say, let's see where we can make a difference, you know what I mean, and reach out to people, that's what's actually satisfying to us. Just giving people an opportunity and sharing our story so that people can also be inspired to know that if I could get myself out of the situation, so can you.
And you're doing it while doing something that you love. I think that's so important, to tell that story of you really can make your passion pay for you, you know, as long as you find different revenue streams and you set up a business, but you can follow what you love. Was there never any negativity coming from people around you discouraging you to say, guys, this is a bad idea, it's never going to work out? Like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are?
I'll tell you where we've actually had challenges with people with what we're doing is, you know, because we placed ourselves in the city, some of the responses we got from people was, you know, you should actually come and do it in the township or do it. We found that being in the city, firstly, it's quite central, and secondly, being part of the Mabuning precinct, which is basically this whole rejuvenation of the city. Exactly.
Rise,
so we're actually part of the scene where we're actually taking back our city and taking pride in our city again. And we get so excited when we actually bring friends to Mabuning, people who haven't been here before. After our classes, we do our edutainment classes, I normally take the crowd around Mabuning and take them on a tour. Even if it's 11 o'clock in the evening, I'll take them on a tour of the Mabuning precinct, and people are blown away by the scene and what's happening in this part of the city. If you called your parents and said, I'm in city and suburb in JP's town, under a bridge somewhere at a culinary school,
my child,
what are you doing? Exactly. So you come here and you know, your blinkers come off and you see exactly what's happening in your own city. So that's what we're taking pride in right now. We've placed ourselves strategically because of accessibility and also being part of what's happening in our city at the moment.
When you guys are not cooking almost 24/7, what are you doing?
With our 4 kids, we have 4 boys. The little ones are very keen on being chefs. Our eldest son as well wants to be a chef. And then the second eldest one, he's very technical. Justin's into computers and that type of thing. But the food scene, once again, I see it being pulled into my sons as well, the eldest and the youngest. They even have the little chef uniforms, and they'll come to the school, make chocolates, make marshmallows. So yeah, they definitely into it.
Calvin, the pride that you must feel as a father to be seeing your kids wanting to emulate you. I think any parent would feel, wow, this is what it's really about. You know, this is the big plus that I get. This is the bonus that I get.
You know, it's one of those things. I believe I'm giving them an opportunity. If they want to take it, it's there. But I'm not going to force them into it, because it's not one of the easiest careers to follow. You know, it's one of the tough ones. If you don't love it, you'll never enjoy it. So if they want to do it, I'll support them. If they're not really into it, it's just a phase they're going through. So you know, it's one of those things. But it will be nice for them to basically take over a business one day.
This is my legacy. I just want you to continue with it. What makes a good chef?
I think a good chef is someone that's willing to learn continuously. If you stop learning, if you don't want to learn, because you learn new stuff continuously.
I think it's learning and teaching, because you're learning, so you never know it all. And secondly, teaching, where you're passing on your skill to other people. It doesn't make sense keeping it to yourself. Hence the teaching that we're doing right now. It's skills that Calvin has obviously gathered along the years, but he's more than willing to share it with other people and pass it on to other people so they can pass it on as well.
On the thought of teaching though, Calvin, what would you say the importance of a mentor is? Because I think sometimes a lot of people can say, I know how to cook and I'll just find my way, I'll figure it out. But some people often refer to a mentor, that the person who you can turn to, and they give you guidance over and above how to make certain recipes, but emotional almost and psychological mentorship.
When it comes to cooking, I think it's the only way that they say cooking is 90% common sense, 10% skill. The skill you can learn. The common sense part, you need to work on it by yourself. But you know, it comes with practice. It's one of those things, if you're not persistent in practicing it, you'll never get good at it. And that's the only way you learn in cooking.
Question. What do you love most about your work? Because a job is something that you do from 9 to 5 and you get paid to do it and you just go home. But your work is something that you're passionate about, and it will raise you out of bed at midnight and you wouldn't mind. So what do you love about your work?
Well, I think for me, from my side, I would say it is the fact that you get to meet a whole lot of different people constantly. And also just seeing the satisfaction on the customer's face. You know, people come through and you treat them to something really, really cool, and you actually see that gratitude, you know. So that for me is the biggest payment, the biggest satisfaction.
And I think for any chef, if you wanna piss off a chef, tell him his food is not nice. You know, it's actually it hits hard. It actually hits like certain nerves. But if everything comes together and someone enjoys the food or a pastry, it's really satisfactory. I think that's one of the biggest drives as being a chef.
Charlene, what would you say the 3 things that you learned the most from your husband are?
To be ambitious. He is extremely ambitious. He's driven, and he's got a lot of focus. You know, if he wants something, goes out and gets it.
Ambition, driven, and focused.
For me, that's the biggest.
And vice versa for you, Calvin. What are the 3 things your wife teaches you?
Now and then to be calm.
Now and then.
She's polite with everyone, which is a good thing, you know. And she's quite loving.
What inspires both of you?
Me, what inspires me is successful people, great people that has made a difference, and people that's humble.
I love it. It's like you're intertwined. It's like, yep, what he said. Exactly. That's for me. If you had to invite 3 people over for dinner at your home, who would you guys invite?
Obama.
Hey.
Yeah, he would be on the top of the list.
So she picks the first guest. Calvin, you can pick the second guest.
Yeah, that was the second guest is. There's a couple of friends of mine that I actually grew up with, and give them like so that would like to basically give an experience, a food experience, because when I started cooking at a church, it was like basic cooking. There wasn't, the fine dining, the creme brulees, the fillets, it was like.
Now you can do the fancy things.
Yeah.
The things that it's so hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I didn't even know they existed. So it was those kind of.
Some flan bag.
Yeah.
hey, can I please be at that dinner? I know like it's 3 people. Can I be at that dinner? It will be 4 people. How important do you think it is to give back? You know, because Calvin, you were speaking now about how your friends that you grew up with, the ones that you were cooking for, making simple things like poly rice and chicken and gravy, but now you do all these fancy things. How important is it to always stay grounded and remember where you come from?
I think because, you know, you're human, things happen, and it's we always, in this business, you lose so many friends. It's not that you lose them because of anything else. It's purely because of work time. You don't see them. So you start, you know, your memories of your friends, you appreciate it. It's like, you know, it's those kind of things. And I think it's crucial as a human being to give back. You know, it's like when you instead of closing the door, pull at least a few guys up with you. You know, that's
point. You've got students like Tevin at your school. You've got Zachariah, who is here almost on a scholarship basis. What makes you do that? You know, you wouldn't have to do that. You could easily just say, sorry, unfortunately, this is how much it costs and this is what you need to do to be a part of the school.
You know, the thing is, you know, in the chefing industry, certain people have the impression that it's for an elite few. It's only a certain type of person that can go into this industry. You need to be special, you need to have the money, whatever else. It's not the case. Sometimes you'll find that the guy who doesn't have the resource, or doesn't have the money, doesn't have the support, actually has the passion that you need to be a chef. So if you give someone that opportunity, they'll actually really literally take the ball and run, and they hold on to it, you know, just to be part of a team and to take pride in what you're part of and what you're presenting and what you're being taught, you know. And the biggest thing is the skills that's being passed on to these guys, no one can ever take it away from them. They could literally, even if Calvin shows them how to do fresh pasta, this person can go into a township and actually do a little pasta shop where they sell fresh pasta to locals, you know, and that's something that people haven't experienced anywhere else.
It's a brand new idea and a brand new way of thinking. What is your advice to aspiring young chefs, or even chefs that are currently in the industry and probably hit that wall that you hit when you were working at your job?
It's where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? I mean, that's a crucial one. So you need to sit down, you need to be honest with yourself. It's either I'm going to work for pension, or I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to go in and risk it all, take the big leap. You know, I think a lot of chefs are going through the same phases, because at a certain stage you just hit a wall in your career, especially in the hospitality industry. So and there's so many opportunities. I mean, our food market is still so young. If you go to Europe, the market is saturated with all kinds of products. So in South Africa, there's still a lot of opportunities to start developing products, to start getting involved with all different ways of. There's only a certain few people doing certain things. So the more people do certain things, the better. More competition, the better.
What does the future hold for the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School?
Well, ultimately, we would love the school to be taken to a provincial level. So instead of just the Johannesburg Culinary Pastry School, we'll have the school all over South Africa. In Venda, we'll do it in Venda. That's why the Venda Culinary and Pastry School is coming. So yeah, that's what we'd like to do. And also, like I mentioned earlier, is to actually partner up with some international schools where we actually give our local chefs an international experience. And yeah, the truth is a lot of the chefs, well-known chefs, do get international exposure, but the guy on the street is not getting that. And that's why I say they think it's for the exclusive few.
It's a fancy thing, you know, and it's probably not even a career option for you, because at home they just expect you to follow certain things, and then you come home and you say, Mom, I want to be a chef.
But I think it's changed over the past few years because of MasterChef and all those kind of things. So there's a lot of interest, you know, and I think the market is definitely growing. So there is now a lot of interest in becoming chefing. I think it's the first time in years that chefing actually gets so much exposure in South Africa.
What makes both of you proud to be South Africans?
Look at our city. Look at where we are. We don't come here with disgust. We come here with pride. We come here knowing that we're part of this fabulous thing and what we can do if we put our minds together. If you look at the Maboneng precinct, there's so many of these young retailers that are starting up, and just their perseverance, their passion and their drive, that makes you want to be part of something. You know, just being part of this community alone makes you proud.
Calvin?
I'm South African. I was fortunate enough to travel quite a bit, and I don't think there's any place like South Africa right now. You know, it's the people, the culture, the opportunities, but what opportunities is, as I said, the markets are not saturated yet, so there's so much And there's so much potential. It's just that we need to start harnessing it, and we need more role models. We need people that can really show the youngsters that, listen, this is where we can go to, you know, change culture, our work ethic. But there's lots of opportunity, and I mean, it's a beautiful country. You know.
What do both of you want to be remembered for one day?
I think just making a difference. For me, it would be just making a difference. Should I no longer be here in the next few years, I need people to be able to say, you know, remember when we walked in there and she did this different to how those people did it, you know what I mean? So we're trying to make a difference.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. It's been such a pleasure to have you on I Am South African. But before I let you go, I need to test your knowledge on South Africa. Are you ready? We're going to see who knows what better. Just raise your hand because it must be a husband-wife competition. I want to gauge this. All right, question number 1. What does Mzansi mean?
So,
Point. Number 2, how many languages do we have in our national anthem?
3.
Nope, it's 4. Zulu to Tswana to Afrikaans to English. All right, next question. In which years did South Africa win the Rugby World Cup? I can give you
95 and, yeah, 95.
2003?
Yeah.
Okay, you get half a point because it's a sports question. It's okay. So he's got 1.5 and you've got 0 right now, Jarlene. So please do something. In which province is the Mbombela Stadium?
Northwest.
Both of you are wrong. I'm giving you one more chance to guess.
One of the situations
Is it
Mbombela.
Oh, it's in Limpopo. So.
No, it's in Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga, sorry.
Which South African music legend is known as the Princess of Africa? I'll give you a clue. Wemadlamini. Wupumkomoti.
Yvonne Chaka Chaka.
Yes! Okay, so he got like 3.5 and you got nothing. Guys, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best with your school. And it's just inspiring to meet South Africans who are making their passions something more than just what brings in money, but going over and beyond and uplifting other people, especially young people. It's humbling and inspiring. Thank you.
I just have a small challenge to put out to South Africans. Please step up to the plate and let us know how you can help us. Thank you.
I mentioned at the beginning of the show that the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School's Chefs Project is a community enhancement initiative aimed at providing much needed skills and education to previously disadvantaged youths. Let's meet one of these young students.
My name is Steven Evans. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Westbury, Johannesburg. Grew up in Westbury, wanting to become a chef, and currently I'm at the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School working as a junior chef. Me realizing I want to become a chef, it's like my background, my family background, they've been cooking, so my grandmother, my aunts, I had like 6 aunties, they had a catering company. I went to grade 10 and I had to choose which subjects I wanted to take, and I just decided on the single day that now I'm taking hospitality studies. And then it started from there. When I chose it, people's reactions was like, it is a girly thing, but to me it wasn't a matter of it being a girl thing or a boy thing. I wanted to do it because I've seen most successful chefs in the world are actually males. So basically after high school, I went and studied at the Capsicum Culinary Studio. I did a year at Capsicum. But unfortunately, I have dropped out there due to financial constraints and had to make a decision. And my decision was to work to get the money to be able to study. So what I did, I worked for 2 years. And after that 2 years, I saved up enough cash to get myself back into the hospitality industry. How I got to the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School, I worked with Chef Calvin. He actually got me in a training at the Santon Sun Hotel. And then I got to the hotel and I did a 2-month training. After that, went to school, came back. This year, January, Chef Calvin actually gave me a call, told me to come find out, to come have a look what his school's all about, how he's operating. I came first week of January and I started the same day. My parents are actually staying in Mareisburg. They at the church called Jubilee Christian Fellowship, and they the parents of the home at the church. It's a cool thing to have my mom working as like a foster mom, if I might say. It's kind of inspiring. I miss her a lot. I miss her a lot. Strange enough, she's gotten into the whole chatting thing, and we kind of chat, but seeing that I'm always busy, it's kind of tough me responding to them. I was in the industry. It's crazy hours. It's crazy hours, if I might say, because people have breakfast at 6 in the morning. So if people have breakfast at 6, you have to be there at least 2 hours before they eat to prepare the food for them. Where I see myself in the next 5 years, I will be 27 exactly, because I turned 22 this year. So what I really would like to have is my own chain of restaurants.
I'm now joined by Tevin, one of the students here at JCPS. Welcome to I Am South African, Tevin. Tell me, how did your love for food begin?
That started when I went to grade 10. But as I said, I've got a family of a background of cooking. So I had like 6 aunts. My mom used to cook a lot. She made the best meals.
Does she still make the best meals, or are you better now?
Strange enough, last night she made me a lentil curry. And that's actually my favorite arms meal. And yeah, it started, I went to grade 10. It was actually just something I decided on the day, because I was going to do like physical science and mathematics, and I decided, nah, let me rather go for that.
Home economics is what I'm going to do. But won't you judge for it though, Tevin? Because a lot of guys, you know, it's a thing of rather go play sport or do serious kind of things. I mean, a guy in the kitchen, seriously?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, but it was kind of not an issue, I wouldn't say an issue, but it was kind of like a stereotype. People saying that it's for girls, but you know, I love my family and they just allowed me to do what I wanted to do, and it started working out for me.
Now, your journey to come here to the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School, meeting Calvin as well as Jolene, tell me about how your relationship came about.
With Calvin, I knew Calvin as I was a bit younger, a little boy then. Calvin used to be like a family friend, and once he came and he said to me that he can get me a training at the Santon Sun Hotel. I went and did like a 2-month training with him. Due to circumstances, I left the cooking thing, I went to work. Then when I got back this year, actually January, Calvin gave me a call and he was like, I opened the school and you should come have a look and see. When I came, we had an interview. He asked me that if I was willing to do the program. It's called Chef's Projects. So I decided, yes, I'm going to leave what I'm doing currently and just come here and continue my journey.
But that must have been so difficult for you to start at a culinary school after matric, but then have to drop out, obviously due to mostly financial circumstances. Did you not feel that you were giving up on your dream and you'd never be able to do this again?
You know, in my mind, I always kept thinking that I'm wasting time and I'm falling behind with the trends and I'm going to be lost when I get back into it. But something just told me that go for it, you know. Rather do that than something that you wouldn't like doing. Because like I said, I worked at the call center once. I was good at it, but
it's not something that you're passionate about. It didn't make you jump out of bed every day.
It started working on me and I was like, do I have to go there every day? And yeah, this is kind of what I'd like to do.
What keeps you going through the challenges, you know, because it can't be easy. You're learning new things. It must be frustrating when you get things wrong or things are not working out, or sometimes you're tired. You're just like, actually, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? What keeps you going?
I think the end keeps me going. Knowing that I've got goals, I've got dreams, I know what I want to do. I'd like to have my own restaurant one day. So I think that keeps me going. And knowing that this is what I really love doing, and just seeing that there's like a wide variety of cuisines, it's still a lot for me to learn. And I think that keeps me going, knowing that, because I love people for one, so the cuisine is just extra.
So you're talking about the different cuisines that you're learning. Have you already found what your speciality will be or what you really love? Because I understand that you're still a student, you're only learning, but are you going to specialize in traditional food, Chinese? What's your favorite so far?
As you were saying, yes, I am still learning, and I'm not yet at that point where I could say I found a cuisine that I'd really like to go into. But for me, seeing that overseas the cuisines are so well known, I think it would be best for me as a South African to uplift our cuisine, you know, and just let the world see what we eat.
What we're all about. If you had to have 3 guests over for dinner, a special one that you would prepare, which 3 people would you invite?
I think, could I be 4 people? Could that be 4 people?
Okay, we'll let you have 4.
So, I think it's my parents for one, my mentor, my grandmother, and my president.
So that's 5 because parents is 2.
I think they would be 1. They
would count as 1. Okay.
As one.
That sounds like a good pair. You said you'd invite the president. What would you cook for him?
I'd go crazy there. I think I'd just make like a salad for a starter, do like a beef Wellington with some sides, and like a cheesecake with a Florentine crust.
Whatever Florentine means. It sounds delicious. I don't know what it means, but it sounds delicious. When you go home, do you cook a lot for your family?
I used to, but seeing that the hours are kind of hectic, the chance I get to do something, I think I'll just do like a treat, not cook, because I always get home after 6, so people are kind of hungry the time I get home. So I just come up and make like a snack or bake a cake or something, which would take like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your parents aren't in a close vicinity to you. You're currently living with your brother and his wife. Do you not miss your parents and long for them to be around and to see you grow and flourish day to day?
I do a lot, I do a lot, but they doing God's work, and I think it's cool for my parents to look after kids which are disadvantaged as well. So I do miss them, but I know that they're still with me.
So your parents running an orphanage at the church where you're from, and they spend all this time with other children, but that's the love that you see from your parents going on to other children, and it's just such a blessing for them to be able to do that. What do you learn from your parents?
For one, respect. I feel that my parents has taught me respect. I feel that I can and I do respect human in general. So they've taught me love.
Love and respect. I think those are 2 very important things, and as a young man, if you keep those with you, you'll go far in life. Talking about going far in life, I know that you're preparing for your first competition. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. So we've got like this product that we have to work with. It's actually a clementine. So we have to incorporate it in a dessert.
Okay.
So we have to come up with a plate where that fruit stands out.
The clementine. The key ingredient,
it would
as
be
they
the
say in
key
these
ingredient.
cooking shows.
Sure.
Yeah.
It has to be like the key ingredient on the plate. And we have submitted already, so we're just kind of waiting for some results. They will post it and we'll have like a voting session.
Is cooking like a thing of like trial and error? You know, when you're in the kitchen, sometimes you just add a little bit of this, add a little bit of that, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we try again. Or are you one of those cooks that you have to stick to the recipe, otherwise if it doesn't stick to it, it's not going to work out?
I think it's all on you. If you've got that exploring mind, you can. But as my mentor always tells me, that if you don't know the basics, it's hard for you to explore if you don't know how to do the basic thing.
Do you think that education is important when it comes to following a career path like being a chef?
I'd say 60-40. 40% that it's not that important, and 60% you don't actually need it, because most successful chefs around the world didn't actually go to school.
They just taught themselves. Sure. But I suppose if you have the opportunity to learn, you should take that opportunity and go ahead and do it.
That would be your personal benefit.
And the importance of having a mentor, you're speaking a lot about, you know, as my mentor says, as my mentor says. Do you think it's really important to have one in this form of career?
I think it is really important because, as I said, the industry grows so fast and there's new trends. So for my mentor, knowing things and knowing the basics, he can teach me the basics so we could explore together, for example, you know.
What inspires you, Tevin?
Where I come from. I come from an area where we not, like, could I say, not very
You're not very fortunate and advanced.
Yeah, you know. So I think that inspires me. Having to come out of that, not coming out of the area like leaving the people there, but being one of the people that shines in the area, because my area is known for, you know, drugs and violence.
Because you're from Westbury,
I'm from Westbury, yes. So I don't want the world to know about Westbury and known as a place for drugs and violence. I want them to know that
there are good stories.
You know, you've got your Calvin Joel coming out of Westbury, you've got Stephen Pinar coming out of Westbury, and you know, it inspires me to actually do more as well.
But Tevin, wasn't it easy for you as you were growing up in that environment to say, this is an easier path for me to choose? What made you to not get sucked in to the drugs and the violence? Because it's such an easy decision to make to do that.
Yeah, sure, it is. And you know, the influence is so heavy. But I think my parents, seeing that they knew every single thing that I have, everything that I do, they even knew if I had an extra toy. Seriously.
And they're like, so like, who bought you this toy?
So if I had stolen something, my mom would have known. And I think she groomed me that way so that I've my personality, you know. I could adapt, I can speak to anyone, but I don't think I'd indulge into things that I don't feel is good for me.
What are your words of encouragement or words of advice to another young Tevin who is sitting somewhere, wherever they may be in South Africa or in Westbury themselves, and they're saying, I can't do it, I can't be like Tevin? What would you say?
I think no matter the situation, no matter where you come from, no matter what you'd like to do, it's all up to you. I've read a quote once, it said that whether you say you can't, whether you say you can.
You're right.
You're right. So if you tell yourself that you can do it, no matter your circumstances, you will definitely do it at the end.
What does the future hold for Tevin?
The future's bright. The future's very, very bright. And I think it's all up to me. I've got my goals and I think I'm going to work towards that. But I'll see myself big one day and very soon.
And I'll know him. I'll be like, Tevin, he's my boy. he's my boy. Tevin, what makes you proud to be a South African?
What makes me proud to be South African is that I am South African, firstly. Our food, our culture, as this group of people, you know, like I've mentioned that our food, seeing that we're a rainbow nation, our food is quite interesting, you know. So we've got a little bit of Indian cuisine, we've got a little bit of Malaysian, and all that comes into one as South African, you know. So I think that makes me, our cuisine, you know, the food, seeing that I'd like to be a good chef one day, I think our food.
If your parents were to not be here tomorrow, what would you want to say? Like your last message to them, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a kind of tough one. I've never actually thought about that once before, you know. But I think I'd do what they groomed me to do, you know. To continuing respecting people, continue loving people, and for one, loving God, definitely.
Tevin, thank you so much for your time here on I Am South African. As the rapper Meek Mill says, ambition is priceless. It's something that's in your veins, and that is very true of Tevin. Up next, I meet another new face here at JCPS. His name is Zachariah.
My name is Zachariah Mhaswa. I'm 28 years old. I come from Pretoria at Ridgeville. Currently, I reside here in the West End, Witborgie. with my aunt. Basically, me growing up, I grew up in the location. I attended primary school in Valhalla, Centurion. Then my high school was in the Lokshin, Solrich High School. And growing up, basically we're a big family. We're 7, all of us at home. Basically my passion is in food and culinary arts and music. Passion for me of cooking started maybe at the age of 14, 15. I was in high school at the time. Used to always read food and wine magazines, trying out recipes at home. Basically, me coming into the school started by Capsium, which they sent me a prospectus. And then when I was scrolling, I came up with JCPS and got into their website, got a number there, called Kelvin, the chef himself. He said, come through by the 28th of June. So me coming on the 28th of June, I was coming to check on the school, where it's located, what requirements do they need. Came to school on the 1st of July, started my first culinary dish, which is on the school's menu. I've never prepared before. Took me 2-3 days to perfect the first dish menu. After 2-3 days, I was moved to sweet dishes. I'd like to open a restaurant, my own restaurant, then give back the way they gave back to me. Right now, I'm happy, very happy, because I'm doing what I love. At home, actually, they're very happy, because I'm gonna bake my sister's daughter's birthday cake on the 18th of August.
Joined by Zachariah, one of the students here at the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School. Zachariah, welcome to I Am South African.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm alright.
Now, we're busy making roti over here. I'll eventually get to make my own. But let's start with your journey. A lot of men, are more interested in sports and fast cars and things like that. Why did you choose coming to a chef school?
I think I was made to cook, because I've always grown up I liked food a lot. Yeah, that's one of the things that brought me here to the culinary school.
Let's talk about your journey before you came to the school here in Johannesburg. What were you doing, and how did you come to meet with Jolene and her husband?
I grew up in Attridgeville. Naughty, as always, during my teen days. Missed school a lot. Me landing here with Jolene and Kelvin, I was looking for a culinary school, and it's tough to find culinary schools because they are way expensive, Yeah, so while I was searching online, I came across JCPS. So I gave them a call, talked to Kelvin. Kelvin said, come through, let's have a chat. And then that's how it happened.
But now, as you're mentioning, culinary schools are very expensive to go to. So I understand that you're here on scholarship.
Yes.
And what are the criteria or the things that you have to meet in order to qualify for your scholarship? Or is it a thing of you'll pay us back later, or is it a full scholarship?
It's not necessarily a scholarship, because you start off by volunteering.
Okay.
Then after 6 months or so, you get your diploma.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you doing next after you leave JCPS? What does the future hold for Zachariah?
I don't know.
Skolo sa haunyana or
Skolo
opening your own
nyana,
restaurant?
because there's still a long way to go, Yeah.
And what would you say some of the challenges are, Zachariah? Like, there's often challenges that you face at home, and getting to where you want to get to, the journey is not always easy. So let me know about some of the challenges that you've experienced in your life.
Challenges that I've experienced financially, yeah, it's getting to school, right? Yeah, because I should have gone to college way back, because right now I'm 28 years old now. I should have done my college studies maybe around 1921, so Being financially disabled at home, you find yourself doing, going to retail, working retail, tiring, even though we know that the retail doesn't pay that much. Yeah,
Just a way to make a living.
exactly.
But when you find yourself here, I think it's the joy, right, of being able to do what you love to do, but also being able to one day make it a career and make money out of it.
Exactly.
So
that.
let's start making some roti. You know, I'm not, you know, an expert in the kitchen, but I like to cook. So let me know the step by step and how it all begins.
This is roti dough.
Okay.
It's a bit wet. You just have to make it stiff with flour.
Okay. So how much flour? Do I just roll it in like that?
Yeah, just roll it in. Make
Okay.
it a bit stiff.
Yeah?
Yeah. Then
And
you
then?
roll it out with a rolling pin.
Because I know that this is a rolling pin. What are some of your favorite things to make here at JCPS?
I'd say cake.
Yeah.
For now, yeah, it's cake and desserts, chocolate mousse, lemon meringues, yeah.
Lemon meringues are hard though, because aren't they very easy to just flop all of a sudden?
It depends.
If you were to have the President Jacob Zuma, over for dinner at your house, what 3 things would you make for him?
Dessert.
What would you make for him?
Let's see. I'd make him maybe chicken curry with roti, chocolate mousse cake, maybe, and what else?
Only those 2 things.
Oh, and cannoli.
What's a
Cannoli.
cannoli?
Cannoli.
Cannoli. What's
Yes, it's
a
a
cannoli?
dessert, a deep fried pastry filled with icing.
Aren't those hard? Because they can just fall apart. Not at all.
No,
And what would you say the thing that you least like to make is?
ash cake.
Yeah. But cake is delicious. Is it a matter of it takes too long to make?
Takes too long
or?
to the process, the mixing, the oven. You get burnt every day.
Okay, but mine doesn't look like yours. I
Not
mean,
using the rolling pin accordingly.
oh,
Yeah.
there's a way to use a rolling pin?
Must keep flouring it. Ne? Then we roll out.
Okay. Keep flouring and keep rolling.
And keep rolling.
Okay, this seems like, you know, processes and procedures and things that you need to follow, and if you don't do it correctly, it doesn't turn out right. What would you say keeps you inspired, you know, day to day? Because like you said earlier, you've had challenges financially to not be able to go to school, but here you are today. There's something that must have kept you going during those times when it was really, really hard.
Faith. Faith kept me going. Yeah, you must have faith. Without faith and God, there's nothing. Yeah,
Just to know that there's always a bigger plan for you.
exactly.
A bigger plan for you. And if Jolene and her husband were here, what would you want to say to them?
I'd like to thank them for giving me the opportunity to come and study here at school. Ne? Yeah, because at times we apply for things, but they don't turn out the way you think. They don't turn out the way one shall I. So that's what I would thank them for.
Marakele ratole,
It's
matlaonono
love.
for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what's your message to other aspiring young chefs like yourself? Because I think batho ba bangata where they are, you know, if ba go kasi especially, bashimane ba ba jwetsa gore, you know, either you must go be a doctor, a policeman, a fireman, mara dintho tsa go apeya, those are not for men. That's not what men do. Men don't
Not
bake and
necessarily.
cook and things
It's
like
not
that.
for men. Life is what you make. You know. Yeah. So I wouldn't say men should be truck drivers, race car drivers. Yeah. So you choose your own path. No? Yeah. Because everyone's life is in their own hands.
And you're making the best of it, I must say.
Yeah.
So one day, to a restaurant, the head chef here is Zachariah. And I want to
Head
say, I
chef
know
and
that guy.
the owner.
And the, high five. High five. I
five.
like that. Not like we've got flour all over the place. Zachariah, thank you very much. And may you continue to grow. And like I said, one day, to a restaurant, Zachariah is the owner and he's the head chef. Welcome.
The South African of the Year Awards want your nominations for South Africans in various categories. To nominate, you can SMS Saty plus the award number plus the nominee name and surname and nominee description to 43043. Or email the award number plus nominee name and surname and nominee description to satynominations@nn7.com. The awards are 1. Trend-setting Celebrity of the Year. 2. Campaign of the Year. 3. Sports Person of the Year. 4. Business Person of the Year. 5. Spirit of Humanity Award. 6. Young South African of the Year. 7. Student of the Year Matric. 8. Student of the Year University. 9. South African of the Year. Let's nominate the deserving individuals who will be acknowledged and celebrated at the awards event on the 6th of September. South Africa, nothing can stop us now. You can also vote for the Saty Awards via Skype. Here are a few people who've already nominated people they want to see on the final nominees list.
Hi, I'm Batan Malingo. I nominate DJ Sbu for the South African of the Year because he encourages young people and motivates them to do better in their lives.
Hi, my name is Sipiwes Banyoni. I'm voting for DJ Sbu as a Celebrity of the Year. I'm voting for him because he has done a lot and I'm so in love with the book, the entrepreneurship book.
My name is Dineo. I would like to nominate DJ Sbu for South African of the Year because he always motivates the youth since I'm the youth.
My name is Anati Deise. I would like to nominate Desmond Dessau for South African of the Year. He is one of the leading activists in South Africa and he has put South Africa on the map.
My name is Tebo Mukhetia. I'm voting for DJ Sbu. The reason why I'm voting for DJ Sbu is that he has done a lot actually to South African youth on entrepreneurs, recruiting new entrepreneurs and also giving the young ones the opportunity to go to further their studies at universities by giving them bursaries with this Leope Foundation.
And that brings us to the end of our show here at the Maboneng Precinct. Remember to get all your nominations in for the South African of the Year Awards 2014. You can send them via SMS or via email. Remember that you can also send me all your opinions, your questions and your comments to @NN7TV using the hashtag #IamSouthAfrican or hashtag Saty2014. Until tomorrow, from me, Ulisani Ravele, Ndima Dekwana Wudi.